On Iran, it's been reported that the ceasefire was struck after the involvement of two unlikely factors, J.D. Vance and China. What role did those parties play in striking a deal?
Well, Vice President Vance has played a very significant and a key role in this since the very beginning. He's been involved in all of these discussions, and as I just announced, he'll be leading this new phase of negotiations in Islamabad later this week. With respect to China, there were conversations that took place between top levels of our government and China's government.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt on China's increased involvement in Iran. The New York Times reports that Iranian officials suggested China pushed Iran to accept the ceasefire with the U.S. to open the strait and ease tensions in the region. Joining me now is Gatestone Institute senior fellow Gordon Chang. Well, no surprise that China is trying to appear to be some kind of a peacemaker here. Gordon, your reaction?
Well, first of all, China is trying to douse the flames that it lit.
Right.
Iran has a nuclear weapons program because of the equipment, materials, and technology that China supplied either directly or indirectly. And Iran's weapons are essentially China's weapons. But China right now does need peace. It needs oil through the Strait of Hormuz because it gets at least 45% of its seaborne imported oil through that critical waterway. And more important, right now, it's incredibly trade dependent, and it needs a peaceful world because it needs to be able to sell around the world. So at this point, I think China's foreign policy has changed from being a troublemaker to trying to be a peacemaker because its economy is at a very fragile moment.
Yeah, and I love the hand that President Trump has strengthened for the United States going into his meeting with Xi Jinping, now scheduled for May 14-15, after what the president did in Venezuela and then in Iran. After all the games that China played with us on the rare earth minerals.
Yes, and also Cuba. Because remember, China has at least 4 listening posts in Cuba that are directed toward mainly Florida, but really the southeastern portion of the United States. They've wanted a military base there, as the Wall Street Journal has reported, and it is trying to turn Cuba into another Chinese proxy. But what President Trump has done is he's realized that China tries to accomplish its aims through others, and he's going around taking away those proxies from China, as you mentioned, Venezuela and now Iran, as well as Cuba. So this is really important foreign policy on the part of the president. And if he's successful by May 14th, and if he actually goes then he may be able to be the triumphant guy in those talks, and Xi Jinping may be subordinate in his own capital.
Well, I mean, look, President Trump is aware of the support that has been given to Iran and who's doing it. I mean, the president threatening a new wave of tariffs on any country that is still supporting Iran and its military right now. He wrote this on Truth Social during yesterday's show. You may remember, a country supplying military weapons to Iran will be immediately tariffed, writes the president, on any and all goods sold to the United States of America. 50% effective immediately. There will be no exclusions or exemptions. Gordon, we've covered reports of China providing Iran with intelligence, with components, other military support during this conflict. So President Trump is making it clear, you want to support Iran and send them components? Well, then you're going to have to deal with tariffs if any of your products think they're coming into America.
Yes, and that's really important because in late March, Iran fired supersonic anti-ship cruise missiles at the Abraham Lincoln, our aircraft carrier. And fortunately, they missed, but those were Chinese weapons. And remember, every Iranian weapon with a microchip either has a microchip that was manufactured in China or a microchip that was sold to Iran through Chinese intermediaries, in other words, the black market. So, yes, this is going to be critical, and I just hope President Trump is as good as his word on this, so that he actually does impose those tariffs. Because remember, they were Chinese microchips in those drones that killed 6 Americans on March 1st in Kuwait.
Wow. Well, look, we all know that the president has a lot of levers to pull. China is now beefing up its IPO market. The IPO market in China is up 56% in the first quarter. Beijing has eased restrictions on equity financing to drive domestic technology innovation. Now, the question is, are these companies going to go public in Hong Kong, or are they going to try to go public in the U.S.? I spoke with former Reagan National Security Council Senior Director Roger Robinson. yesterday on this program. Here's what he said. Watch.
You have about 40 Chinese companies, including the majors like China National Petroleum, Sinopec, and others that are really responsible for keeping Iran a going concern. We did an analysis of those 40. All of them, ironically, are in the investment products of our major asset managers, and thereby in the investment portfolio of scores of millions of unwitting American retail investors. The American people involved in helping China underwrite Iran. I mean, Iran's been, for all intents and purposes, a subsidiary of China. They're not some innocent bystander. Look at the missiles, the drones, and not to mention their space assets being used to target our forces. We are in a belligerent situation, in effect, with China. They are a kind of enemy combatant, even albeit indirectly.
Gordon, your reaction?
Yeah, Roger Robinson is absolutely 100% correct. And by the way, because of his efforts, the American public has been talking about this, and there have been changes in Washington. It's clear, what we're seeing right now is the Chinese embedded in our financial system, and we need to remove them from the indices, and we need to get them out of our markets. We're having help from Xi Jinping because he is trying to divorce the United States. He is trying to decouple financially. So he has basically got the China Securities Regulatory Commission to not approve any offerings offshore, which means no offerings in New York. And he's also really forced them to list either in Hong Kong or in the 3 Chinese markets, Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Beijing. So there's both push and pull here. And, we just need to help Roger Robinson accomplish this goal.
Well, look, we are continuing to probe the relations between the U.S. and China. And we've got a new special out. Gordon, you are in my new special, The Enemy's Arsenal. It is available for streaming now on Fox Nation, where we take a look at the U.S. military, strong, and then we're looking at what China's arsenal looks like as it continues to try to compete and overtake the United States as the #1 superpower. Your thoughts?
Well, right now, China has got some really good weapons. Some of them are better than ours, and that's our fault because we were leaders in those areas, such as hypersonic flight. But fortunately, as you pointed out, Xi Jinping has been decimating his own leadership, especially the leadership of the People's Liberation Army. So at least right now, China is not capable of major operations, though it can easily blunder into a war. And it's doing a good job of blundering in the South China and East China seas right now. So we got to be especially concerned because things could just flare up overnight.
All right, Gordon, great to always get your take on all of that. Thank you. Gordon Chang here. We will be back with former House Speaker Newt Gingrich and former senior counsel to the president, Kellyanne Conway. Back in a minute.